Hi, I'm Mackenzie Hughes, and I will be playing in my 7th RBC Canadian Open.
So Mac, let's go back to your first RBC Canadian Open, and I was thinking there's probably not too many Canadians who have played their first Canadian Open so close to where they grew up. So I would imagine that was a very anticipated and special week for you back in 2012 at Hamilton Golf and Country Club.
Yeah, the first one being at Hamilton for me, and also I think for me knowing 8 months in advance that I was playing there.
As the Canadian Amateur
Champion was difficult in the sense that I looked forward to it for so long. It was the build up in my mind, and was pretty big, and it lived up to every expectation that I had. But at the same time, I think I probably would have done it differently, knowing what I know now. But at the time, I was really trying to soak it all in and take it in, and it was a pretty special week.
Well, when you talk about those expectations, were your expectations in terms of your nervousness or just the size and the scale of the event, or what do you mean specifically?
I just think that knowing what I know now, I would have just, eased up a little bit. I just felt like I wanted it really badly at the time, and if I truly want to perform my best, I cannot say yes to everything because I will have no time for myself. Right. So, it's unfortunate that you have to do that. I don't like having to do that, but that is the reality of, performing at the highest level and trying to win the Canadian Open eventually one day. So then that's the goal is to hopefully to be the Canadian that does that. But you have to be a bit selfish with your time leading up to the event and your preparation.
Well, speaking of victories, you got back into the winner's circle earlier this season at the Sanderson Farms. You and I have talked about it a little bit, but just maybe you could explain some of the things you've been doing differently.
Things started to feel pretty good in Jackson there, and when I won Sanderson, just things kind of clicked that week. I felt like I had a nice feel for my swing, and tee to green game was solid, and I putted, like I know I can. So when I do those things, I feel like I'm going to be pretty tough to beat. But actually, just about 2 weeks ago, I stopped working with that coach. I don't know, I've always sort of enjoyed being on my own. Yeah, I definitely acknowledge that help is nice sometimes, and I did get some help there. But now it's just a singular voice in my head telling me what to do, which is my own. And I find that when I get in that space, sometimes I'm my best because things are simple, things are pretty clean in my head, and I'm not trying to, search for too much.
We'll go back to St. George's last year, which was a very unique RBC Canadian Open in that, the previous 2 years have been canceled, so there was a lot of build-up. And then, of course, you have a final grouping of Rory McIlroy, Justin Thompson, Tony Finau. And it just was a pretty crazy atmosphere. Just so when you were around St. George's last year, what did you make of that event in particular with regards to the fans and the setup and the build-out?
2022 at St. George's was unbelievable, I thought. And it was kind of neat because I thought 2019 at Hamilton was probably the best Canadian Open that I can ever remember being part of. And I think RBC and Golf Canada would agree that was probably one of their most successful Canadian Opens ever. And I felt like in 22, even with the 2 years off, we were able to kind of pick up that momentum where we left off, which was pretty cool. I wasn't quite sure how it would be and if people were going to come out as much, and the fans and the crowd support was great. I thought there was tons of people out there every day, and obviously the field was nice. They had some great players there, so that really helped. And Rory playing well never hurts, but yeah, it was pretty awesome to see how well it responded, given that we'd had 2 years off. You're just not sure how it's going to be, and it was everything you hoped it would be and more. So, when we go to that event every year as a Canadian, you hope that it's electric. You want it to be loud, you want it to be energetic, and it was definitely all those things.
It's awesome. I'm excited to get back, I'm sure, and play in front of Canadian fans again.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it a few times, even just this week, but when we go home to Canada, it feels like we're the top players in the world for a week. You kind of have that treatment where, there's more requests, there's more interviews, and stuff like that doesn't happen for us on a weekly basis. So that stuff is cool and fun. And even just when you are interacting with the Canadian fans or you're playing well late in the tournament, you can kind of feel like there's extra support there behind you, which is really cool. I mean, you don't get that extra pull most weeks. Like if I'm playing with a top player late on a Sunday, everyone's pulling for that top player. But in Canada, it'd probably be different. If I'm playing, Justin Thomas down the stretch, you know, the crowd would probably be heavily in my favor, which would be cool. So that's what you look forward to every week or every year at the Canadian Open, and hopefully we can break that curse.
Awesome. Well, look forward to seeing you there.
All right, sounds good.
Thanks.